זהו, אני פותח.
אוקיי.
Hello, everyone. David, stop the movie. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Provision-ISR seminar. For those of you that join us for the first time to Provision-ISR seminars, and please note that this webinar is being recorded. At the end of this seminar, you probably today or tomorrow, you will get an access to this recording as well. We will also show you how you can download the recording from our website and also have access to other webinars similar to this that you can view anytime you want. With me is David from our technical department who will do most of this seminar today. Your microphones are closed. We will open them at the end of the seminar, so you're more than welcome to ask any question at the end of the seminar. In between, if you have any question, please feel free to write it over the chat. You can write it available to everyone or to me, Amnon, personally, and we will be happy to answer. And I'll be asking them on behalf of you. So sit back and enjoy. David, go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining us for our afternoon webinar. Today's webinar is in the sign of DDA, of what is it, and showing the attractive features, how can you use it, what can you do with it, and how to set it up. So there are multiple ways to set it up and to view what the events that are coming as a result of the DDA. So I will start by, first of all, showing the first way of how to set
Sorry,
up.
David.
Yes.
Sorry, just one thing, David. Please open the presentation. We'll start with that first to show a little bit about what is DDA and small applications about it.
Yeah, correct. Forgot about it. 1 second. And
No harm done. Thank you.
Few more seconds. Okay, so what you guys can see right now, okay, is the DDA. What the DDA stands for? First of all, DDA is our way to describe analytics, artificial intelligence analytics. Of course, the main purpose of this technology is to provide us the ability to get only true events. Okay, so if you get an event in the middle of the night, it's not for nothing. It means that an actual person or a vehicle or something that wasn't supposed to be there has been detected, and it demands our immediate attention. So DDA stands for detect. The camera relies on advanced algorithm to detect familiar object. Familiar, as we said, is a human being or a vehicle. Distinguish is the next step of the DDA. The camera compares the detected object with the ones included in its internal database. The camera has a sort of built-in folders, hundreds of thousands of folders that contains any kind of angle and objects that can be characterized as familiar objects. So if a human is moving from this angle or that angle, or a vehicle from multiple different angles, then the camera has all of those. It does a comparison, basically crosses the lines and matches that this is a person, and this is how the camera actually can tell that the object in front of it is an actual object and not just a garbage bag, for example, or just a moving tree. The next and final step for the DDA is to alert. So of course, in the end, the thing that we want the most is to get an alert, and only in true event and only true alert whenever something is happening. An alert can be received. First of all, there is a simple alert of a recording, which is by default usually. And of course, you can set up alarm output if you want to trigger an alarm or a siren, or close or open a door when this object has been detected. You can get a push notification to your phone, sending an email, and much, much more. Unlike video motion detection, which is based on pixel change, of course, we all know motion detection, the camera just have pixels that the pixels are changing, and this is how the camera can tell that there is something in the scene. This technology is very old and not very accurate, so of course it's not very recommended, especially when we want to have surveillance on sensitive areas, and even of not sensitive areas, just areas that we don't want to get too much or any false alarms. So the pixel-based analytic is really out of this world, we can say. And the new analytic is the DDA based on the artificial intelligence. The camera, since it is based on actual object detection, it doesn't really matter what will be the area on the field. So the camera can actually work and give good performance even in under rough conditions. So if there is a rain, for example, the camera will be able to handle it. In most cases of rain, it will be handled. Of course, if there is a flood, then probably won't. But in most cases, yes, the camera will be able to detect a human or a vehicle under most cases, shaking trees, or of course, this is just a way to say objects that move and they have nothing to do with the objects that we want to identify. So for example, if trees are moving and create a lot of movement on the street and on the field of the camera, it doesn't really matter for the camera. If there will be a person that will walk by, the camera will detect only that person, even though that there are a lot of additional movements that are happening all around. Shadows, in many cases, of course, you have the sun or you have just street lamps, and then of course the person can walk around and his shadow will enter the line that we draw using the camera. We're gonna see it in a second how to draw the line with the camera, but maybe the shadow will enter into this line. The camera will not detect the shadow as a person, even though the shadow is a reflection of this person. But the camera can tell that the person is the person and not the shadow. So of course it can handle that as well. Abandoned objects, of course, by that we mean to winds or dirt that is flying around the air, or bags, a lot of things that can access to and that can get into to the ROI of the camera. The camera will ignore those objects. It won't give you false alarms. It will only give alarms for recognized objects. And of course, animal passage. There can be dogs and cats and camels and whatnot, things that can pass by in many different places. So of course, the camera can be very good for installation in places that contains a lot of animals. So if you're in a zoo and you want to install a camera, in case that a burglar comes in the middle of the night and wants to steal the tiger, then you can install the camera. The camera will ignore the animals around it, but whenever a person is arriving, then it will trigger an alert. Now we're gonna see a short video, which I hope maybe I can. Okay, never mind. We're gonna play the video in the small screen. We're gonna see here a demonstration for how the camera is actually ignoring the rain. So have a look in the tiny image. We can see the rain. And as soon as there is a vehicle that enters into the field of the camera, like right about here, okay, right about here. Never mind, actually the ROI of the camera turns red, okay, instead of being blue, which is the normal way it turns red. The car is being detected by the camera, even though that there is a rain all around it, which means that all of the pixels in the camera are changing due to the rain, but still the camera is able to give us the differentiate between the car and the other things that are on the scenario. Okay, what are our abilities to draw actually the line or the ROI, the area where the camera will detect the object? So we have, first of all, the sterile area. Sterile area is basically you take the camera and you can draw inside of the camera, okay, inside of your frame. You can draw.
Sorry, David, can you go back to the previous slide and again to the sterile area slide?
Yeah.
There's a problem with the video, I think. Go ahead. Thank you.
Now it's good? Okay. Okay, so what we can see here is that this is a camera. The camera is capturing an area filled with people. The camera will totally ignore the water surrounding it. Even if people will throw coins or anything else into the pool, the camera will ignore those things. But if a person will suddenly decide to jump inside, then the camera will detect that there was a crossing made from the outside to the inside of this area, this sterile area, and it will trigger an alert. So this is just one of many ways to protect the perimeter where people should not enter. It can be a pool. It can, even though that in a pool, we wouldn't consider using a camera in order to save life if somebody is accessing inside, because once the people is flat, it's not for sure that the camera will be able to detect the person while it's underwater. But if somebody is jumping right now from the outside into the inside of the pool, it will be detected for 100% and trigger an alert. Next comes the line crossing. So many people, or in many cases, we would like to protect our property or business, or for example, in this case, we have a museum with a lot of artifacts on the walls. And if somebody will cross this area, will just even go near this line, it will trigger an alert, because the camera can actually detect that this is a person. And once this person is approaching the line and touching it, then the line will be turned red, the camera will send an alert, and then you will be able to protect the thing that you are trying to protect. Next, since we are in an unfortunate era, which is the COVID-19 problem, of course, as we all know, there has become a growing need for protecting perimeters in a matter of controlling how many people will be able to enter to a place, to a facility. So in many places, you want to be able to limit the amount of people that can enter into a store, into a building, into a facility, or it doesn't matter, using the cameras. Okay, using our cameras. By the way, we're talking about the iSight V2 cameras. All of the things we just shown are a part of this camera. Also the counting, something that we're not gonna mention too much, but also face detection this camera has the ability to do. So you can make the camera to be to count. Okay, so the camera can count people, cars, two-wheel vehicles, all of them. You can count them simultaneously, of course. So by using the camera, you can also limit the amount of people to be able to enter into the store. By that, you can comply to regulations that are made under the circumstances of the COVID-19. Okay, so that was the first part for our explanation about the DDA. Now, next, I'm going to take us into one of the cameras. This is a camera that is installed right outside our offices, right here. As you see, it's a pretty windy day today. What you can see on the screen is an iSight V2 camera. A simple camera, one of the more sold series, okay, that we have. Now, what I'm going to show you is simply how to draw the line and how to
David, I apologize. I need to stop you for a second. First of all, guys, I have to apologize. We noticed here that for some reason the streaming through Zoom is somehow gets stuck this afternoon. Usually it's much better. David, is there a way for you to improve the network or something? Can you check if there is any problem interfering with the streaming of the video?
Is the problem the quality or the fluidity?
Very low. We're talking about less than D1 resolution.
Okay, so now we're gonna get a little bit better.
Now it's much better. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so it was an optimized for video, which is good for video, but less for cameras. Okay.
Yes, so what we do need to apologize, guys, that what David did just now is to optimize the quality of the video. So naturally, we're going to see a much better quality. However, as you can see, it's like 3 frames per second or something.
Stuck a little bit, yes.
Rest assured, when you're talking about when you're using a live camera and equipment, the streaming is much better. Thank you.
Okay, lucky for us, we have to handle now with settings which are not moving, it's not video. Okay, so now we're in the settings of the camera. I'm going to spend like 2 or 3 minutes to show how to set up an analytic, just to show how easy it is. So of course, naturally, we're gonna go into the analytics menu, right? We have here some basic analytics such as camera tampering. Of course, another location you can find the motion detection, but of course, we're going to touch the line crossing. And actually what I'm going to show you right now with the line crossing is applicable also for the sterile area. It's just the same, and the object counting, just different, it's a different kind of analytic, but the setting is exactly the same. So let's go with line crossing. Okay, so accessing into line crossing, you're going to see that you need to enable it. Once we enable this analytic, of course, after we install the camera and connect it to it, etc., etc., once we enable it, we have a couple of options here. First of all, we can choose to save a panoramic picture. It means that we will save the entire frame whenever this line has been crossed. Where this frame is going to be saved to, it's going to be saved into the SD card, which you can plug into the camera. Supports up to 128 gigs, if I'm not mistaken. Save target cut out. It means that the camera will save only the part of the camera, of the frame, that the person was, or the vehicle was captured. Okay, you're gonna see in a second what is the cutout actually. You can choose what objects the camera will detect. Humans, cars, or two-wheel vehicles, or all of them. And of course that you can play with the sensitivity of those objects. You can trigger an alarm out straight from the camera, so the camera can be standalone, and whenever somebody's crossing the line, you can activate a siren or do whatever. Of course, email, FTP, and snap and SD recording into the SD card. Now we're talking about the recording. So we're going to save it. Once we saved it, we're going to go into the area. The area will show us actually the live video from the camera as it happens right now. You can do, I will just clear the line. Okay, so what can we do from here? First of all, we can draw area. So one click and I pull my finger and we have a line. The line stretches from left to right horizontally, and we see A and we can see B. The arrow goes from A to B. In this point, it means that the line, okay, the camera will give us an event only when somebody, a person or a vehicle, will pass from point A to point B. Of course, that you can go ahead and change the direction from point B to point A, or you can do both locations, both directions. Okay, so in this case, it doesn't matter from where the object is going to come and where he's going to go, you're gonna get an alert. Now, you can do something like this. You can have line number 1, and you can draw up to 4 different lines. There is another one here, and line number 3 is going to be here. You can have 4 different lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them will be working simultaneously. So under one camera, you can control different zones on the camera and to have an alert for different kinds of zones. Okay, and the alert will still be the same for all of the zones, but of course you can differentiate between more important areas to not important areas. Now the same thing that I did here, of course you can also schedule. Let's say that you want to get alerts for this kind of analytic only between 12 o'clock at midnight until 5 o'clock a.m., which are the hours that the place is left alone. Then you can do it from here, from the schedule. Same thing that I did from here.
Wait. I wanna, someone asked me to notice the holiday schedule as well, which is very unique. Meaning basically that you can set up your full year holiday calendar by adding any day of holidays that you want it to be different time hours than your regular days. Yeah, so if we know that on May 1st, although it's a Sunday and we want it to be differently or something, we can define it differently than the rest of the regular days.
Yep, you can have like something like this, the 27th, which is today, tomorrow, and the day after. I just added them by changing the date right here. I added all of those dates, and for those dates, we can choose a different kind, okay, a different kind of a schedule. So if I will go to erase, we can do something like this. So only on those dates, the analytic will be working as follows, as what we have decided right here. And I will delete it so that tomorrow suddenly the camera won't be able to record, and then we will forget what we did. Okay, so same as we did with the line crossing, you have exactly the same abilities using the sterile area. As you can see, now I'm going to clear this area and draw a new one. You can have up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points that make a shape. Okay, and you can create 4 of those shapes, similar to what we did with the line crossing, just that in this case, it's a shape. This is good to contain perimeters like we did with the pool before with the presentation, or a parking lot. You can control it to see who enters and who exits, or not who, but a vehicle, for example. A lot of different ways that you can use it. There are 2 ways to use the sterile area. One is for a pier, and one is for a cross, and I'm going to show you those things when we do it from the NVR. Okay, next, after using the camera, now we're going to move into our next phase, which will be the NVR itself.
And I just want to add here, what David is going to show us today is 4 different platforms and how we can use the analytic in all those platforms. The first thing that we saw is the camera itself, the camera menu, how to set it up. Next is showing us now is basically the Nvr interface itself and how you can set up, search anything you want regarding analytics. And he's going to do the same thing also next with our VMS, our video management software, and with the apps as well. Go ahead, David.
Thank you, Amnon. Okay, so what we can see right now is the NVR. Okay, we have an NVR. This is an NVR, a pretty basic NVR for a 16 channel. As we can see, all of them are full. Before I start by going to the search, how to search for different events that that made by DDA alerts, I'm going to show you. I want to show you the dynamic menu, the dynamic feature that we have here on the object detection. You can see that there are constant changes in the images. Okay, we can see that people are actually being detected as we speak. This is a dynamic menu that will show us live people that are being detected, okay, by any of the cameras. Any of the camera that you have that has the ability to detect a human, and whenever this camera is detecting a human or a vehicle, this object is going to show right here. We can control, of course, the things that we can see. It doesn't really relate to now, but of course you can choose to see also faces and also license plates. So in the meantime, since we're talking about DDA today, of course, we chose only human and vehicle just to see. As you can see, we have a car right here on the right. Of course, you can also choose to see the object box and the detection area and objects. Those are actually this is the metadata that arrives from the camera. So since we have on the camera, 1 second. So since we have on the camera a sterile area that has been set up, in this camera, in the upper left camera, we have sterile area, so we can see the sterile areas on the screen itself. Okay, they're drawn in white, the white lines, so we can see them on the screen. I believe there are 3 over there. On the bottom left camera, we can see...
David, sorry to stop. Quick question to you. We know that we've shown that you can set it up from the camera, and of course, you're going to show now that you can set it up from the NVR. Yeah. Does any one of those have priority, or once you did one, it's basically a mirror to the other?
Once you did one, this is a mirror to the other. So if you touch the camera, you're going to see the same on the NVR. If I will change something right now on the NVR and go back to the camera, you're going to see what I did on the NVR on the camera. Okay, settings. So in order to set up a camera, all you have to do is go to the menu, go to the settings, AI event, choose the analytic that you want, let's say AI perimeter detection. Of course, it doesn't matter what you choose because it will eventually get you into this screen. And from here, of course, you can jump between one menu to another. Of course, that only settings that are available on the camera will be available on this menu. For example, let's take the camera that we dealt with outside, the street counting. For example, this camera, street counting, it is a eyesight V2 camera. It's not an LPR camera. So this is why under LPR, we can't access detection or recognition because this camera is not meant for that. But this camera has ability for face detection. So we have those menus. And of course, we can access line and sterile area, which are our analytics. And of course, also object counting. We can set everything from the NVR itself. So for the example, let's set up the object. You know what? Let's set up the line crossing. I want you all to see what it's pretty much the same as we did with the camera. We have here the enable to enable the analytic itself, for how long the holding time will be. We have the lines. Those are all of the lines that we have drawn using the camera itself, and of course the directions. Okay, you can control the directions and the human, the sensitivity, everything is the same. One thing that exists here on the NVR and not on the camera, because of a logical reason, is a trigger. You can make much more triggers using the NVR than from the camera, because on the camera, you only control the camera. And when you use the NVR, you can use triggers that does not exist on the camera, such as getting a push message. So using the NVR, you can get a push into your phone, into your application. This is on by default, by the way. You can get a snap, make the NVR buzz, send an email, video pop-up into the NVR locally, of course. You can choose to record other cameras, not only the one that is that makes the event. Of course, the one that makes the event will be chosen by default. And you can send alarm outputs. Now, this NVR doesn't have any alarm outputs, okay? All of the alarm outputs that we can see right here are alarm outputs that exist on the cameras that are connected to the NVR. So basically, you can have an alert on one camera and send 4 different alarm outputs to 4 different cameras all at once, which can be connected to sirens and doors, and you can activate whatever you need using those things. Sterile area, exactly the same like I showed before, with the shape that we drawn on the camera. Okay, it's reflected here on the NVR. We have 2 abilities for the sterile area, one for appear, one for cross. What is appear and what is cross? Appear, it means that an object, one of these 3 objects, has just appeared in the middle of the sterile area, and the camera detects it, sends the alert. Okay, it doesn't matter if the object crossed the line, crossed the sterile area from one side to another, or just appear in the middle, or not. The camera will alert. Okay, it will give us an event. Cross.
By the way, I can give an example of appear, just to have an understanding of what David explaining. Let's say it's a place that we allow cars to go past, to go past in that region, in that sterile area. No problem if there is cars going through that area. So we don't activate car alert for the sterile area. However, we do activate human alert into that area as a appear. Why? Because all of a sudden the car stopped and a person went out of it and start walking in the middle of the highway, for example. So this is an appear. All of a sudden, a person appear in the middle of the sterile area. Go ahead.
Thank you. So in the example that you just described, I would probably do something like this. I would place the camera over a highway, for example, and make the camera only to detect humans. Okay, so when vehicles and 2-wheel vehicles are moving across, it's all good. But when a vehicle stops in the middle of the road and the people starts walking outside where they shouldn't, that is when we are going to get the push message to our phone. Okay. If you guys have any question regarding to the settings, you can just send it via with the chat. We will answer. And now I'm going to show you how to search for an event and how to actually work the entire thing. So first thing first, let's go into the playback. A simple click on the playback button will get us into the playback. Right now we are in a playback mode. Okay. I'm going to choose, I think, let's choose this camera, the back DDA. This is a camera that is capturing our backyard, okay, the parking spaces with all of the vehicles. Now, we have here to the right, we have the bar that contains a lot of different colors, okay? Every color represents the kind of record that exists there, whether it is an AI or motion or schedule or anything else. And of course, starting from 1.4.4 version for our NVRs, we have another way to filter for recordings. It is AI filtering. So we, instead of seeing the colors that would represent motion and regular events, we can have the colors to represent analytics. So in this case, the yellow will be sterile area. So whenever we see the yellow color, okay, we'll cancel the rest of the colors. Whenever we see a yellow color, then it means that there is something was happening in a sterile area. It means, in other words, that a human or a vehicle has been detected. So we are right now with camera number 1. You can see that it is highlighted in red. And this is actually the camera, okay, this one. Now we can see a lot of yellow in the middle of the day, which is starting from 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, a lot of yellow. It's very logical. Probably a lot of people are walking by and vehicles also. But we can see some events late at night, which could be interesting. Maybe something is wrong. So of course, that whenever we see yellow in the middle of the night, okay, once we search for DDA, It means that for 100%, it's something that is familiar to the camera. Okay, it's not just a bag that's flying around. It's a human, as we can see right here. So we can see human here. Of course, I'm going to zoom in a little bit into the recording so we can see a clearer view. We can see here a couple of yellows. Okay, just zoomed in into the time bar so we can have a larger resolution for the time. We can see this is midnight, 12:55 and 1 o'clock in the night. So let's go into the next yellow. And the next yellow shows us this person once again walking around. And of course, we have another one right after. In this case, this person is walking very far from the camera. Actually, this is not an ideal distance to capture people, but lucky for us, the cameras are good enough to capture even from distances that are not meant to capture people or vehicles.
I would like to add to what David just said. Of course, Provision-ISR is part of our certificate for DDA Analytic, and also in our manual, we draw clear guidelines on what is the meaning of this, the ability to distinguish a human being. How small can it be from the total image? David, just remind me, for a person, for a human being, what is the minimum amount in percentage from the total image? I think it's 5% or 10%. What is it?
Yeah, it's or 5 or 10. I don't remember. It actually goes with the squares divided on the screen.
Correct.
There is
what David is showing us here. The person that is walking back there is much less than 5%. This is not an ideal. This is not something that we guarantee that you will get detection of a human being that is about 3% or 2% from the total image. However, the cameras, as you can see, they can actually do it. But we don't guarantee it. In our guidelines, we strictly say that the minimum size of a person to be able to detect is about 5% of the total image that you see. Go ahead, Ed.
Thank you. Okay. So we have here the person that has been detected, and this is pretty much the case. We can get a grip of exactly what happened in any time of the night. Okay, and of course that when we reach to later hours, such as 2 o'clock in the morning, we have a lot of yellow. This is all of the cars and the people that are walking by. By the way, whenever you see a yellow, it means that there is an event. Is this event means that there is a vehicle on the scene? Yes, it is. Does it mean that this vehicle is moving? For sure. The thing is that our cameras can detect whether a vehicle is moving or not. So you won't get any event if a vehicle is parking. Okay, if the vehicle is parking, there is no need to give us an alert because it will be a false alert. It's not our purpose. So of course that whenever we see a yellow, it means that either a person or a vehicle was detected in the scene and something is moving. As we can see right here, I hope you guys can see it clearly. Okay, so this is way number one to search for, to use the analytics using just the normal playback. Of course, you can just add all of the layouts, and straight from here, you can just back up. Okay, you can back up even 4 cameras in the same time if you want. You can back it up into the disk. But the next way that I'm going to show you how to search for analytic is a more precise way. To use that, we're going to go into the analytic menu. How can we go to the analytic menu? We have 2 ways. One of them is simple, and the other one is way, way more simple. The first one is just go to the menu, press the analytic button, and we are there. The second way is just to press on one of the images right here, press on the magnifier. It will just automatically take you to the analytic menu and search for a human at the same time. So what can we see here? This is the menu that will give you access to all of the analytics, whether it is a face or a human or a vehicle. This is where to search. Okay, so what we can see now are results for human recognition, human detection from all of the cameras. We have here results from back DDA camera, which is the camera we were just at right before in the demonstration, and another one, office DDA. So all of the cameras that detect humans, they send those images to the Nvr, and this is the result that we can see in front of our eyes right now. Now, if you want to see the entire scene of this is what I was talking to you before about the cutout image that we saw in the camera. This is the cutout. The camera cuts only the part that the person is showing, cuts it, sends this image into the NVR, and it is also sending the entire scene. As we can see right here, just press the scene button, you can see the entire scene. Press the snap, you can see the person. Now, take a look. Once we go to the scene, this person right here actually disappears. It's not really disappears, but it is so small. He's somewhere here, but he's so small that the camera was barely catching it. This is probably the person right here on the truck. Okay, so basically, since the camera is detecting a person from that long from the camera, the person is looking a little bit pixelized. Okay, because when you take this tiny area from the image and stretch it, then you lose a lot of pixels. But actually what it means is that the camera has detected a person from a lot of distance away. So number one, we can search for a human. Okay, I didn't mention it, but of course you can search for today. You can search from yesterday, from this week, from this month, up to a maximum of 31 days. You can search for a human, okay, or an object. Of course, it doesn't matter on which image you're gonna press, you're gonna get the live video of that exact moment, that exact event. Double click on that image will get you into the playback where we were just before. From here, of course, you can go ahead and back up what you need into your disk on key. And of course, next thing that we're gonna see is how to search for a vehicle. Okay, so searching a vehicle, we can see that we have pretty much the same menu as we had before. Okay, so first of all, we can go ahead and choose the day. We're gonna search from today. We're gonna search from all of the cameras and simply press the search button. We're gonna get everything that is actually a vehicle. Now, my mistake, this is not an LPR webinar, so we're not gonna touch the LPR today. So apologies, but we are going to filter our detection only for vehicles. And now we're going to see only vehicles. Of course, those are vehicles, both vehicles and two-wheel vehicles. These are the things that we're going to see. Since the camera has the ability to detect any kind of vehicle, then it might also detect moving objects such as carts. For example, shopping cart can be detected. It has wheels, it moves. So starting from two-wheel vehicle, as we can see right here, we're gonna see here a bike. The faster of you probably saw that the bike was passing there. So we can get a detection of a two-wheel vehicle or a four-wheel vehicle with all of the things we mentioned just before. Now, even though that you have a lot of vehicles on the parking lot, okay, even though that we have a lot of vehicles, some of them are parking, of course, the camera, unless a car has been hidden and reappear by a truck, for example, the NVR will only show us events from vehicles that are moving. So whenever I'm going to look, okay, we're gonna see the video to the left and we will get moving vehicles that are moving. So even though that all of the cars are parking, you're gonna get event only for the moving ones. Another way that you have here is this. Since we have ability to count using the cameras, I want to show you two things. First of all is that the cameras has ability to detect two-wheel vehicles. I chose in purpose to search only from one of the cameras because it detects two-wheel vehicles much clearer, okay, as we can see here. Now I'm going to access the playback. Okay, let's give it once more. This bike was moving very fast. Okay, so for example, this one, we can see here a bike. Okay, this bike is moving. Of course, that the camera is detecting this bike and give us the alert, even though that it was captured for a very short period of time, but still the camera can detect it. Now, since it detected that while it wasn't, the camera was in a counting mode, but now it's not anymore. So I'm going to get one recording from the morning, which hopefully will give us an example for the counting. Okay, so for example, let's take this one. Okay, this person right here is passing with his bikes. Of course, the camera was set in the morning for counting, and later on we changed it probably, so we lost the counting. But this is a recording from the morning. We can see here entrance, exit, and stay. Entrance, it means how many people moved from one side of the line to the other. Exit is just the opposite direction. It's just like line crossing, just that in this case it counts. So we have here a person and we have here a bike. Okay. In the exit, we can see that the human counter is 22 and the bike counter is 0. Now we are going to let this person to pass. We can see that the bike is 0 right here. And as soon as the person is walking with his bike, the bike turns to 1 and the human turns to 23. Okay, as this person was passing in the line from point B probably to point A, which resembles for exit. Okay, so it was counted as an exit. Not really, it's not really a part of this course, but just to mention that you can take a couple of counting cameras, place them in different locations of the same building, and use the VMS, which I'm going to show you right now, to combine data from different cameras. Okay, so you can control the amount of people that are entering into one building with multiple cameras. You can tell in any given time how many people inside. I want to make sure that I didn't left anything in the open. I think not.
While David is opening the VMS, I'm guessing, there were a few questions about the ability to track a specific human being and to find him in other cameras as well. So I already replied that what we do in the search of human, of course, we can search for a human and we know it's a human being. If we want to track someone specifically, we cannot do it from the human search. We can do it from the face recognition search. This is in a different seminar, but in the face recognition ability, one of the features is, of course, once we know that this is Amnon, in this case, we can track this person in the other cameras as well and see exactly in which places he visited and to see his full movement all day long. But this is only a ability with the face recognition feature, not with just simple human being recognition.
Yes, I will just add that you can also track, once you use face recognition, you can track a person whether if he is saved on the NVR or a complete stranger. Okay, you can follow this person using the VMS. You can even follow using a map, even if the person was captured in 3-4 different NVRs spread in the same city. You will be able to see the course he took on the same map.
Let's leave something for the face recognition seminar.
Not to tell all the secrets now. Okay. Okay, let's search for some for events. This is the VMS. For those of you who doesn't know it yet, VMS has a lot of different things that we can do with it. I'm not going to show how to set up the DDA from here.
Just 2 words about VMS for those of us that are not familiar with it. VMS is, of course, a full video management software. You can install on any PC, basically, by the way, Windows or Mac, or on any one of the Provision-ISR server machines. VMS main task is basically to combine many NVRs on site, whether it's dedicated standalone cameras or an NVR or DVR, and basically monitoring all of them in one location, control rooms and such. And this is basically the software that we are watching now. Go ahead, David.
Thank you. So the purpose of the VMS is, in one sentence, is maybe to make our life simpler. Okay, we can use the VMS in order to not only to view the videos, but I'm going to show you now. I'm not going to show how and where and all of the specifics, of course. We're already late, but just how to set, for example, let's go with the same camera. Okay, this is the VMS. I'm inside the camera. line crossing. So think that you can connect through the VMS, you can get into the camera, even though the camera is under the NVR. Okay, you can get into the camera and set it up exactly like we did before, with the lines, with the objects, with the sensitivity. All of those things exist right here on the VMS. You can go to sterile area, people counting. You can set any one of them up. Of course, you can do it from P2P, DDNS, remote IP address, port forwarding, auto report, you name it, we got it. So after that, let's go ahead and see how we can search. Also, how can we use it from the VMS itself? So first of all, we have the playback and backup, the classical playback and backup. All we have to do is to choose the area which contains all of our all of our cameras. Okay, one click, I just choose all of the cameras. Now I'm going to press first of all, the calendar. We're gonna see that we are on the 27th, which is today. And the more button will give us all of the colors that we can see on the bottom of the screen for people counting, face events, sensor motion, video analytics, and behavior analytics. Those things, those colors are here in more. And of course, we can choose what to search for. Now, when we talk about DDA analytics, we talk about line crossing, sterile area. Those are under the behavior analysis filtering. So I'm just going to mark this one and press the search button in order to get only events that are true events. Okay, so right now we have here a list of, we have the bar, okay, with window 1, it is in black, window 2, 3, 4. And we can see that in window 3, which is this one, we have some recordings. Now window 3 is exactly the window that we talked before. Okay, this is the same example, same camera, middle of the night. A security car walks by, and you can see the recordings. Similar to what we did on the NVR, we can do the same in here, including to have a backup. Now we can see recordings from many other cameras. The same recordings. Let's say window 14, which is this 12, this one. So we can see some recordings from here. Okay, this camera is zoomed in, but as soon as a person is walking by, like here, he's walking by, he enters the vehicle. Yet we can get the green alert. It means that an object has been detected, a human or a vehicle has been detected by the camera. This person was moving very fast. Okay, same as we did this. Okay, this is our way to search using the playback. You can also search specifically for events. How can we do that? We're gonna go back into the home, and under playback and backup, we have here search by event. So we can just search specifically for the event that we are searching for. And we can even, this is what is so special about the event search method, is that it is fully dynamic. It means that you can filter live the events without the need to research from the NVR. So all you do is to initially, the first thing we need to do is to choose, like before, we're gonna choose the NVR with our cameras. Of course, we can pick point every camera that we want, but of course it's much easier to just search from all of them all at once. And we are going to choose only the relevant recordings for us. So I'm just going to keep the behavior, press the search button. The thing that happens now is that we can see that the page is filled with 294 events, 343. Of course, it is updated during time. Those are only from today. So we had today at least 664 events that involves human and vehicles from all of the cameras. And we can see that the type of event is line crossing in this case. And in another case, it is sterile area. Of course, for each one for any one of those events, you can press the play button, and immediately you will be able to search for, will be able to see the video. Okay, once you can see the video, you can also back up the video into your computer. As you can see, it is backed up right now. You can open the file location, like in a second, and just play it. I hope that this is the one. Okay, double click and you can play the video really easy. Of course, it has been saved in AVI format. So you can just send it to whoever needs the file. You can play it with the computer or any other player that you want. And we're gonna go back into the VMS. So this is method number one. You can save it to your device. Method number two is to give, like on the way, you can give support to your client using the VMS. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about cases that our clients are not very technical and they don't know how to download the videos for themselves. So we need to help them. So we don't, in using the VMS, you don't really have to be there physically. You don't even have to talk to him on the phone. All you have to do is to ask your client to take a disk on key, a USB disk, plug it into the NVR. And once it is in the NVR, all you have to do is to press the backup on device. We press this button and the file that we want will be uploaded to the disk that is connected to the NVR on the remote side of the connection. Okay, so if our client is in another city or another country, we can just go ahead and give him this service in a click of a button. Okay, now what I meant when I said that this search is fully dynamic is that if, for example, I will choose that I want now also face events, not only the behavior. So let's press the face event. And you can see that from 600, it jumped into 2000 results right here. And if you will wait a few seconds more, I bet that it will be much more than that. So basically you can have all of the results in a click of a button. For example, this one is a face event, just for the example. Okay, a face that has been detected. So of course, that all of the things I just showed are also available from the face event. Now we're a little bit late on time, so I'm going to jump straight forward into the application for our last part of today.
I will say while David is still connecting his phone, what he's going to try and show us now is the app, of course, on his phone. So he's connecting his phone to the computer to show us what you can do also from the app when it comes to DDA. For those of you that join just about now, I guess you're an hour late. Apologies if with time zone we missed you. We have a recording of this webinar. We'll show you once David will finish his part, we will also show you how you can log into our website and download any recording of any of our seminars, previous one and future one. You're more than welcome to register from there. May seminars are already being published tomorrow. Interesting one about LPR and about the VMS and more. Go ahead, David, show us the app.
Thank you, Amnon. Okay, thank you. Let's go to the view. I will just make it for optimized quality so we can see the actual quality of the images. Okay. So I will skip the basic explanation about the application. What we can see is, of course, a live view, which exists right now at the moment from the application. If you want to straight away access to our playback, all we have to do is to go into the playback right here on the bottom. Okay, from the playback, we have exactly very similar. We're trying to keep everything the same. So we have the bar contains a lot of colors. Every color represents a different kind of a recording. And of course, that once you press the filter button, okay, just like we did with the NVR and the VMS, you can also filter according to what you want to see. Okay, so if we only want to see, for example, let's try. Okay, let's try only the intrusion. Then all of the intrusions will be here in white. Okay, so it means that whenever we see a white recording, it means that somebody has accessed into the sterile area. Intrusion is a different word to describe the sterile area. With, of course, we have here the results from the middle of the night, as we saw before. Okay, so this is a very good example since this person is walking in the middle of the night. So we can see the same thing, exactly the same thing using the application. This is way number one, with, of course, the ability to press the download button, and you can just download the period of time that you want into your phone, to be saved locally on the phone. Next way to search for event. This was search by Playback. Search from event. We're simply gonna press the 3 magic buttons right here in the bottom of the screen, which is right there. We press it and we search by event. Search by event will give us the ability to search either for face, human, vehicle, or a combination of the 3. And we can go to search for human. So search for a human. We choose the start time and the end time. You can search no more than 31 days. Choose the channel, right? Choose the type of search, whether it is a sterile, line, or line statistics. Of course, we're gonna choose all of them and start searching. We're supposed to get now all of the results that contain a human being. So let's let it load a little bit. So just like before, using the NVR, we can see cut out of the image. Let's choose, for example, this one from the outside. Okay, line crossing camera. We can see that this is the street counting camera, and the name of the analytic is line crossing. Unlike here, this one is office DDA camera with sterile area. This is the line. This is the analytic that was set. So let's choose this one. And of course, we're gonna get some more details of, for example, what was detected, how and where, and when, of course. And by simply clicking the 4 dots on the upper part, you're gonna be accessed straight into the video, exactly to the area where this thing was happening. And we can see right here in the upper part of the screen. Let me try to zoom in digitally. Okay, so we can see here that those person was captured. Okay, as soon as they crossed one of the lines, probably. I think that this is the line that we draw together. This is lately, 5 o'clock at noon, which is right now. Okay, so this is way number 1 to make a search. Of course, you can do the same for all of the results. We have here tons and tons and tons of results. Okay, of course, we're not gonna see all of them. Next way of searching is to search for a vehicle. I just went back using the application, choosing a vehicle. This will be actually our last example for today using the app. Just like before, choosing the start and the end time, choose the channel name. You can pick what you want. Type, whether it is what kind of recording we want. Let's even cancel those 3 so we don't get license plates. Object type. Okay, choose whether it is a 2 or 4-wheel vehicle and start searching. We're gonna get exactly the same result as we got from before. We have a lot of results and we choose the result, play, and we're gonna get some pre-record of a few seconds. So if you will wait, now it is on 10, 11, 12, we're gonna see that the vehicle is starting to move. Okay, the camera gives us a pre-record of about 5 or 10 seconds. So we have 5 or 10 seconds before the vehicle was starting to move, but of course that we know that this event is a true event. So initially this vehicle will be moving. I want to add on that matter that sometimes we have conditional environment, some conditions on the environment that you cannot change. So for example, if there will be some big thing that will fly and hide a vehicle for a second, and then the vehicle reappears in front of the camera, it will give a false event. Okay, but the camera doesn't know that the car was there, but was just hidden for a second. So we will get an event. But once we install it properly and making sure that the things won't hide and reappear, re-show us the vehicles, then we know for sure that our events are going to be genuine for all the time, actually. Okay, now I think we finished with the application. Next
Thank
thing
you, David.
Thank you.
Can I share my screen for the website?
The website, yes.
I'm going to share my screen if it's okay.
Ah, yes, okay. You want us to do it? Okay, perfect.
First of all, for those of you that join now and for the rest of you, first of all, David, thank you very much. It was amazing as always. And I hope you managed to learn some of the features related to DDA Analytic. What I want to show you is how to access recordings of today's webinar and future webinars and past webinar, and also how to learn more about DDA and also to get some marketing materials for yourself when you go to your customer. So in Provision-ISR website, you can find a big part of our website related to knowledge sharing. Provision-ISR believe in sharing the knowledge that we have with everyone on the supply chain. Starting with Provision-ISR solutions, you can find any information about any solution of Provision-ISR. For that case, let's talk about the DDA that you learned today. When you go to read more, you can find, first of all, an explanation about what is DDA analytic, the ability to distinguish between the 3 different objects, the end of false alarms, what we talked about rain and such. You can download some videos, marketing videos related to it. You can learn about the different application you can have with it, line crossing, stereo area, people or vehicle counting. You can have more movies, you can download leaflets, you can have a lot more information. And so as when it comes to, and by the way, you can have a lot of more information, not only DDA, but you saw many, many others. For the webinars recording, you can go to live webinars. And over there, you can do a few things. First of all, you can register to any one of our upcoming live events. This is of today, and you can always register. I'm guessing tomorrow you can find 2 more coming up in May. And you can, well, you're welcome to join and register. Or you can just download an existing, just a recording that was already uploaded. Last week, we had a seminar about the LPR. Everything you need to know about LPR cameras, how to install them, how to set them up, what kind of LPR markets exist on the market, and you can click here and watch the recording of this webinar. Thank you very much for joining. We are here for the next 20 minutes, so you are more than welcome, first of all, to open your mic and ask questions, or to just write it on the chat, and we'll be happy to ask on behalf of you. Thank you very much for joining, and hope to see you in our next seminars.